Well. Good evening, everyone. It is our second one since we came back on the date night with Mr. and
Mrs. B.
that's right, Mr. and Mrs. B. We're here again, and we're not going to take up his date night, so we're going to let you guys go out and then really enjoy a real date night instead of hanging out here with us. We appreciate each and every one of you, especially those of you that requested so long for the last couple of years. Every time you saw us, you were like, when is date night with Mr. and Mrs. B come back? Well, here it is. We are back. And a lot of great topics we're going to cover. This one actually is going to be this is going to be one of those ticklish ones, right? Because there's going to be some folks that will get their emotions really, really high on this topic. Okay, so we're just going to touch on this stuff, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that we're not going to really get too much into the topic. What we're really trying to do is create some talking points so that you can have a level of communication within your own relationship with whatever it is that's going on. Now, the other part of the disclaimer is we, first of all, the topic, but you said you forgave me. So, but I also want to make sure that we're not endorsing domestic, physical, or mental abuse by the hands of someone that you keep forgiving and they continue doing it. Okay? I made sure I spoke about that clearly in the book on how I spoke about that. Now, there are some gray areas that we're actually going to cover on that area, but specifically with some sort of event that happened in the relationship, and of course the topic. But you said you forgave me, and yet still you're bringing up what happened. You're holding it against me. You're being vindictive about it. By the way, you know what I forgot? It's our date night, babe.
That's because you want to get right into it.
I wanted to get right in. I wanted to get right into it.
So, happy Friday,
Happy
everybody.
Friday.
Either
Happy
you're having
Friday.
your wine or your special drink, whatever it is.
Yes, you mix drinks. Next week we're going to make
Cheers.
some mixed drinks.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'm going to change it up.
So, that being said, forgiving. You forgive someone, and what does that mean to you that you forgave someone, but you're still holding on to the grudge, or you're still trying to find ways to get back at them because of the way that they might have hurt you? So, any ideas on that? My question to each and every one of you, and again, this is to really inspire if you're going through something like this or growing through something like this, we encourage you to have the conversation. Now, here's how forgiving should work, right? Nobody says, and you've heard the saying before, I can forgive, but I can't forget. And that's a very true statement. However, to work through those situations, you need to actually have a healthy conversation as to what you're not letting go. If you're the person that's did the forgiving, nobody says to forget. Nobody's telling you to forget. However, if the person that did the wrongdoing actually is taking steps to better themselves, then you should, talk to them and have the conversations. If they just ask for the forgiveness, but you didn't notice any change in their attitude, any change in their behaviors, or anything like that, now we're going down a whole different ball game, right? But let's generally, I don't like to mix religion into relationships, because some people can say, well, what would Jesus do? Jesus wasn't married, was he? So,
But he did have relationships with people.
right. And
Lots
again,
of them. And obviously there were people who did things,
and did them wrong.
Yeah.
So,
So,
in the sense of forgiveness, you don't forgive the person for them You're forgiving them for yourself, right? Now, whether you stay in a relationship with that person or stay close to that person, it really depends on what they did. If they choose to better themselves, they're bettering themselves for them, not to get back with you. There are some things that some people will say is unforgivable, and that's between you and your God, to be honest with you. I can't force on anyone or drive home that you should forgive someone depending on how severe the offense is. But if you're the person that stays in a relationship with someone, so let's choose infidelity, okay? Person cheated on you. They said they made a mistake. It was a weak moment or whatever excuse they gave you, and they begged for your forgiveness. Now I can feel all the energy of everybody getting heated up on this topic about cheating, because we know how a lot of people feel about cheating, right? But go with me on this one. So that person cheated on you. They begged for the forgiveness. You love them. You've been together with them for some time or whatever the circumstances are, and you decided to forgive them. Now, what does that really mean? Why did you choose to forgive them? Because you wanted to move forward in the relationship, not be stagnant, right? So what are your thoughts on that? As far as someone cheated, they asked for forgiveness, the person forgave them.
If the person made the decision to forgive them, then that means that they're looking forward to move on. And I say move on in this, or moving forward in the sense that you want to continue having a relationship with that same person, right? So now the real truth is, do you really forgive them, or are those just words? Because if you truly forgive someone, you'll never bring it up again, especially if you've actually seen that this individual is making good, positive moves, right? That, let's just say that they're just like, okay, well, you know what? Every day when I come home, and this is just an example, I'm not saying that this happens, okay? When I come home, my husband or wife or whatever give me their phone, whatever. I'm just saying, to make you feel the warm and fuzzies. They're doing something to make you feel the warm and fuzzies, or they're working on what they did in order for that to never happen again. Okay? That's where I see that if you see that you have that, it should never come up. Now, if you're in a heated discussion about something completely separate and that situation comes up, because I've heard this so many times, then you never forgave the individual. And if you never forgave the individual, then you should not be with that person. Yeah. Because you're going to forever bring it up. and that happens all the time. So many relationships.
So there is a healthy way to work this through, to work through a scenario like that, and feel the feelings. Any of you who have coached would have heard me say, feel the feeling, but don't let the feeling dictate or drive an action. So in the sense that you're not really going to, you forgive the person, you're going to feel the feelings. You'll feel some kind of way, something will happen to reignite that feeling. You feel the hurt. But where is the hurt really coming from?
Not only that, how are you feeling, right? When you have not forgiven that person, your thoughts and the things that go through your mind are negative. They're going to be negative no matter what you say. Yeah. So if you're not going to forgive someone, then move on. Yeah. Move on. It's a torture. Here's how I see it. It's a torture to yourself, and it's a torture to the individual. Yeah. Is the way I see it. Because all you're going to be doing is having anxiety. You're going to be thinking, what if? Oh, he's working late, or she's working late. Is she really working late? Yes. Is he really working late? I wonder if he's really out there. Is he really doing what he said he's going to do?
Driving yourself crazy.
Exactly. You're going to drive yourself, thinking all these things. And you have to ask first of all, you should ask yourself, a lot of questions
Yes.
for yourself and your well-being and in your mental state as
And be
well,
truthful when you answer those questions too. Be brutally honest with yourself. Look, there's another part to this sometimes in some relationships. And again, there's so much to talk about this on this topic. This is just to spark the conversation. You're upset there was something that you forgave, revisit it and have a healthy conversation. If you can't get over it, it's let the person who deserves that person be with that person, whether it's a male, whether it's a female, because you're not going to have any healthy relationship if you keep bringing up the past and keep reiterating it and wanting to punish that person every time you feel pain or from it. Because you keep reliving it, you feel like you want to punish the person, and they're genuinely trying to make things better. So that being said, it's, again, there's so many different scenarios. So we might have tapped on one, but there's other situations. Again, unhealthy relationships in the sense of someone is being physically abusive or mentally abusive, and they're not doing anything. They're not seeking professional help for emotional intelligence or anything like that. Yes, you can love that person from a distance. However, some people stay in those relationships because, there's the term Cinderella syndrome, or now this one I'd like to add, Cinderfella syndrome. And it's basically when you have someone that's really sexy, really beautiful, really high in status, giving you a certain level of attention. So we stay in the relationships because we feel honored that this person is in love with us. But they're going to detect that and they're going to treat you like dirt. And in a situation like that, you can only forgive them so many times. If they keep treating you in a way that makes you feel less than human, less than loved, less than anything, it is time to break that. Because at the end of the day, you are attracting the type of a love, the level of love that you feel for yourself. So now you have to revisit yourself and say, how much do I love myself that I'm attracting this person that keeps abusing me mentally or physically or whatever? And then they ask for forgiveness and you forgive them because, to forgive is godly. So that situation, you seek help, that person should seek twice as much help because it's not okay to abuse someone. But that being said, have the discussion among yourselves. Put something in the notes if you want to, in the chat, in the comments. Put your comments down. We're not always going to agree on certain things, but we can agree on one thing. Okay, we all deserve to be happy in our relationships. We all deserve to have healthy relationships. So that being said, we're going to, it leads into a little bit of teaser into next week's episode. Yes, everyone it's co-joined in that episode. But if you forgive. You're forgiving not for that person. You're not forgiving. Yes, you forgive the person at the offender, but you're forgiving the person so that you can feel peace in your heart and move on, whether it's with that individual or without that individual. That's all agreed to.
And how much do you love yourself?
Yeah.
To where you're gonna actually forgive, someone. And we're all human, right? We're all human. We all make mistakes, but that has to come within you, right? If that's what you truly want to do.
Yeah. Remember, opposites attract. So, like Mrs. B and myself, we are total polar opposites. But you see how we gel. So, yes, there's going to come times where my personality might be abrasive to her, or she may do something that might be, frustrating for me. But it's the conversation. She laughs. But it's the conversations that you're going to have, and how healthy those conversations are. What's the outcome? And as a matter of fact, you should reverse engineer it. What's the outcome you want from a conversation before you have the conversation? And discuss that. Hey, honey, this is what I want for the outcome for this because this is what I'm feeling now and I want us to rise above that. Let's start the conversation. You know, don't ever let your feelings dictate your actions. So, on that note, everyone, have a wonderful rest of the weekend.
What is the topic for next week? Because
Yeah,
I kind of interrupted you. You're not going to tell him?
No, I'm not going to tell
Oh,
him.
okay.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess you're all going to have to wait until the day of.
But it's going to be very related to this topic, just on a different level. So,
make sure you give us a like.
Yes.
Subscribe to our channel. We're back again. Invite your friends. Share it with your friends, please. And remember, if there's a special topic or something you guys want to talk about, please put it in the comments. Any questions you have, if you want to reach out to Mr. B, just send him a message.
Yeah. You know, the topics too, because as you see, the topics are not the easy topics to talk on. They're actually very challenging topics that we find it hard sometimes in our own relationships to deal with. So
not only that, there's a lot of conversations that are very taboo that people don't even want to talk about, but they're real life things and relationships. You know, not even just in couples, but just in general. You know,
trust me, I like to break those taboos. So
he does.
So on that note, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. And Mrs. B always says,
love up on each other.
Have a great weekend, everyone, and happy Memorial Day. This is Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Enjoy it. Make sure you have lots